Molly and I met at church, and I think I was actually sitting behind her in the pew behind her during sacrament meeting, and then she and this other girl named Katie came up and introduced herself, and Molly was right behind her, and I don't know if Molly introduced herself or if Katie did, but that's how we met, and we just talked a little bit there, and that was it.
Okay, John and I met at church, but I had seen him probably like 2 months before that, and just kind of, everyone called him my visual obsession, because I really thought he was attractive, and so I always was asking people who he was, and no one knew, and finally I figured out that Chris, his stepmom, was his parents' visiting teacher, and so she tried to scheme a way into getting me to come with her and going to visit him, but I just wouldn't do it, and so then he didn't come to church for a few weeks, and I was really bummed, and I figured he was gone, and then I saw him again, and my friend said, my friend Katie said, if you don't go up and talk to him, I'm going to do something really embarrassing and push you into him, or be like, Molly, you wanted to talk to him, didn't you? And so I knew if I didn't do it, she was gonna embarrass me, and then it'd be over for me. So after sacrament meeting, she got up and went over and talked to him, and I saw her talking to him, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get over there before she does something. And so I went up and talked to him, and then we, that day I was leaving for Seattle. I was going to be in Seattle for a week for Christmas, and so I ended up going to Seattle, and we talked on the phone and on the internet all day, every day, and then the day that I got home, it was like 8 o'clock at night. It had been an 8-hour drive home because the weather was so bad. But he came and picked me up, and we went to a movie, and pretty much we're never apart after that. So that's how we met.
What is the first thing you noticed about her?
The first thing I noticed about her, I don't think she was. No, I don't know about that. She was wearing gray. Pretty sure she was wearing gray, like a gray jacket and a gray skirt. I think she was wearing gray. And that's it. I didn't know how tall she was because she slouches, and for weeks I thought I was taller than she was, and she even said I was taller than she was, but then eventually we found out that she was taller than I am, and yeah, but that's the first thing I remember.
The first thing I noticed about him was, if you know him, it sounds very weird that I say this, but I thought he looked like a bad boy, and I thought he looked kind of scary and mean, and I thought, oh, he's probably really arrogant and wouldn't give me the time of the day, and I was like scared to ever talk to him, and then I had a couple friends that met him at a Munch and Mingle and said, he's like the nicest guy, the easiest guy to talk to, and I was like, yeah, right, I don't think it's the same guy that I'm thinking of, and also that he dressed really nice. He dresses nice at church.
Where did you go on your first date?
Our first date. Oh, of course. It was December 26th. It was the day after Christmas. She had just come back from Seattle, and we had been talking on the phone a little bit and texting each other over the holiday, and she came back, and we went to the movies. We went to go see Valkyrie with Tom Cruise, the Nazi movie, and with one of my nieces, Kimberly, my oldest niece, and that, I guess that was our first date, officially. Yep.
I don't really know what we would consider our first date. I think we hung out a lot, but I think our first official date was at Red Robin, and it was awful because I felt really sick and I was really awkward, and I wouldn't look him in the eyes, and I was just so nervous, and I didn't feel good, so I didn't want to eat my food, but I felt like I had to eat my food because he was buying it, and you could tell that he felt awkward because I was being awkward, and it was just horrible. We still laugh about how awkward that date was.
What was your favorite date?
It wasn't really a date, but we had this ongoing thing where we'd get together late at night and we'd drive around in the snow, and we'd drive around from 10 o'clock at night until 6 o'clock the next morning and just talk, and we'd talk the entire time, and he'd just drive around and scare the crap out of me in the snow, and like one day we drove around all night and we decided we might as well just go to breakfast because it was like 6 in the morning. So we went and we sat in the parking lot at Old European and waited for it to open, and then we had breakfast there, and then we went home and went to sleep at 7 in the morning.
Favorite day? You know, Molly and I talked a lot in all of our dates. We used to go on a lot of like drives, and we would just go and we would drive just all night, and we would talk, and that was a lot of fun. I think, yeah, she was the only person I ever did that with, and just really felt comfortable talking with her. But probably, I'd have to say probably the favorite date was somewhere. We've been dating for like 4 months or something. She did this really cute thing. It was this date that she planned, and she had me decide some, like, you know, secluded country place that we could go to. And so we actually ended up driving all the way up to Newport, a little bit past where I used to live out in the country, and I didn't know it, but in the back of her dad's car, she had this little table, little card table, and a couple chairs, and she had me pick up some pizza before we left, and so some Papa John's pizza, which was my favorite, and she made some Kool-Aid, and she wrote up this little cutesy letter about how much she loved me and how much I meant to her, and then and she had little tea light, little tea candle thingies, and then to top it all off, she actually wrote me a song, and she brought her guitar and she played the song that she wrote for me out there, and that meant an awful lot to me, and so much so that I had to give her a kiss, and that was our first kiss too. So that was just all in all a really good date. Best ever.
When